Hello, this is Taureor and welcome back to Let's Play Kerbal Space Program Career Mode. So, we have gained some basic science, gained some money, and now we're going to continue our development. We still have one mission to ferry some VIPs, VIPs, some VIPs to orbit, well not to orbit, to a suborbital trajectory. And before I decide what science to do, we probably should do that, although I could buy the inline cockpit. It would make it, well, not easier to ferry them, but certainly more elegant. But the cockpit is pretty expensive, and the capsules we were using are quite effective. So, I should probably be saving those ships, shouldn't I? Let's name this the Tourist 1. It's the Tourist 1. We're gonna save it. And now, we no longer need science from the suborbital trajectory. So we're going to remove that module. How heavy was that? Not very heavy. And what did we lose the module last time? I don't remember. When we landed. I might be mistaken. Let's just check that quickly. We have to go to the science lab, go to science archives, and mobile materials lab while in space near Kerbal. So we did do that. Okay then, and while flying at Kerbal and the upper atmosphere as well. So we don't need to take that. I will take the thermometer though, because I certainly missed the atmospheric thing. Yeah, let's restore. No, crap, I saved it. Let's restore it to what it was. Save this as Tourist 1 again. Perfect. Yes, overwrite. Now we're going to remove the science module. Actually, we don't need that many parachutes. Let's stick with them. Maybe this time I will actually land with the engine intact in the water. That might be something. If we can recover the whole liquid fuel engine, it would mean a lot to our money situation. Let's take the tourists, and we do have a contract to test something at the launch site. Yes, test the decoupler. So let's just stick that on the bottom of the rocket. Perfect. So, and this goes here. And actually, yeah, we'll try landing with the rocket attached. So, using the parachutes to land the whole thing in the water, then we would recover a lot of money. Okay, I think that's the thing we're going with, and after this tourist mission we'll probably go into orbit. So this is Tourist 2. Let's save that. And, alright, and the pilot is Jebediah. We don't really need a pilot that much here, so let's go with the engineer Bill Kerman, so he can get some experience as well. Here we go. Sorry about that, something with my throat today. Yeah, perfect. So the first step, we'll use the decoupler, and now, oh crap. Yeah. Let's revert that to launch and do it quickly. Yeah, that's better. And we did fulfill the contract. Just one science. Oh, really? Oh, you can't enable SAS because his... Yeah, of course. That's quite problematic. I think we want to reach the proper altitude with that. Although we will switch to the liquid fuel engine very soon, which will let us have some more control. So let's try adjusting our trajectory. The decoupler actually screwed us a little bit. Oh, why can't I adjust the trajectory? Okay. Let's redo it. we have to set it up differently. We will activate the decoupler and the first stage simultaneously. That will work as well, and we won't get such a big sway, I hope. Or we can just, you know, forfeit the decoupler. Do not use it. We're still swaying a little bit. Okay, try to counter that manually. Yeah, this time it's going a bit better. We can hope to get into orbit with that craft, but yeah, that's not our goal. We want to earn some money from ferrying those tourists. Now, how much thrust should we use? A bit more. Let's just stay in the green. So that we get... Because when we're not thrusting strong enough, we are wasting the speed we already have. Because the longer gravity has us in its grip, so the slower we fly, the more energy we have to expend. And on the other hand, the faster we fly, the more drag there is. So you need to kind of find the perfect balance. It's not easy, and I am by no means a professional or a master of this game. I just, yeah, I've played it pretty casually. I'm only now getting into the finer details. I think we should actually slow down a bit the thrust, or reduce the thrust rather. We will have enough fuel to get to the proper trajectory, or rather to the proper altitude, because we are lighter now and we have the same amount of fuel that we had last time, and we went up to 90 kilometers last time, but oh, we're thrusting too hard. Yeah, let's reduce that. But we have a bit more sway now, so it should be approximately the same. Because the sway makes our the use of our thrust inefficient. Yeah, I think we'll reach the... Yes, we'll go over the desired altitude by a lot. Let's just cut the engine because it's doing more harm than good now. And we'll try landing with the engine, but it seems that we might be due to land in the mountains, which might make that impossible. We might even need to drop the engine at the last possible moment. Okay, so we have fulfilled all our contracts. Good. And some money. And if we can recover the whole ship, it would be even more money. Can we actually do a crew report and gain something from it? Why is it spinning so fast? No, the crew report is useless, but if we land in the grasslands or something, it will no longer be. So, can I... Let's give a bit of thrust here. Where is the cabin door? Let's try counteracting this sway a bit. To the right. Yeah, it's actually working. Okay, cut the engine, we might need that later. Yeah, and did I forget to log the temperature again? Let me check that. No, we can keep the data. Cool. Yeah, so let's just accelerate the time until we start going into the atmosphere. And the drag should put us nose down, because we don't have stability assist this time. Yeah, it definitely is doing that, which is fine. And we're actually going atop a grassland, not a mountain. I'm not sure if it is a different biome or not. Yeah, I lost the fins again, that was to be expected. They were not needed anymore. And parachutes. We still have a bit of fuel. So when we're about to touch down, I will fire the engines to slow us down a little bit, in order to preserve the engine if it's possible. This way we'll get more money back. where's the shadow? Yeah, the shadow is very useful for, let's say, tuning your landing, because thanks to it you know exactly how far you are from the ground. Well, not exactly, but approximately. Let's speed this up a little bit. Okay. Soon we'll need to start firing our engine. Fire. Well, no. Crap. Okay, and now the moment of truth. Bam. Yeah, everything's fine. Right, cool. So we can roll around a little bit. I should have used a much lower powered setting for the engine. Just a bit of thrust. Yeah, that'll be fine. Can we do a crew report from here? Oh, it's actually useful. Good, so probably will be an EVA report. That's EVA. Yeah, flying over Kerbin's grasslands. Let's keep that. Store the experiment. And now we need to get off the ship and do another crew report. I don't really want to plant a flag here. No, another EVA report, not a crew report. Okay, can we actually catch... Oh, we could. There was a moment where we could. For a little while. Yes, perfect. Almost. Board. Again. Climb, jump, jump. I want to board it again because it recovers the Kerbals more quickly. Come on. Yes, it worked. Okay, good. So let's recover the vessel and we will gain some money back for returning with the engine. Perfect. 79 science is what we currently have. We earned some from EVAs and the temperature logging. Oh, I should have done the temperature while landed as well. Well, it's not a lot. And Bill gained some experience. Perfect. Recover some debris. And let's go to the tracking station here. Yes, we've got it. And it can actually help us track our debris from the previous flight. And that's the whole thing with the engine? No, that's somebody else's debris. Never mind. Can we actually recover untitled spacecraft debris? Yeah, let's recover it. This way we'll gain more cash. Oh, and where is this one? Untitled spacecraft debris. Oh, did I click fly? Oh, that's the... What? The fuel tank? It doesn't make any sense. Okay, never mind. Let's go back to recover the vessel. Perfect. Is there anything else we should recover? Oh, that's the flag, our first landing flag. Yeah, that's cool. So, should we buy something new in science, or should we just focus on contracts now? We have 79 science, which is a lot. It's not enough to buy the highest grade stuff we can afford, because we can only spend 100 science at once, and all these things cost 160. So we can, well, stock up a bit to get one of those things. For example, the propulsion system, or the rocketry, or more fuel. Or we could just buy one of the things that we already have here. Actually, space exploration is not a bad thing, because we get another science experiment. Also, this stability enhancer is pretty useful for larger rockets. And so are the struts. It's really a must-have if you want to go to the moon, for example. Well, we could just buy the plane parts and make a plane. Let's see what contracts we have available, because that should really determine some stuff. So, 32 tourists again. Well, we could keep doing that to gain more prestige, but it's pretty boring at this point, and we're not gaining much money. So maybe something else. Flight of a Kerbin, no. We could do that probably. It doesn't pay so well, but it gives us some science. Oh, landed at Kerbin, perfect. So we're doing that. Engine orbiting, no. What's that? Stack separator. Yeah, that's probably going to be problematic. Maybe we should orbit Kerbin. I mean, we are capable of doing that, definitely. And what does that do? We use the basic jet engine in flight over Kerbin. Yeah, it's certainly possible. We would just need to build a plane. But I think we first want to go into orbit, then we'll get into planes a little bit. I don't remember, do we get a bonus science for orbiting? No, I'm not certain. I think I'll just take a scientist to orbit. Maybe a pilot and a scientist. And then we can, you know, reset the experiments however many times we want. Okay, let's close those contracts after taking the one to orbit Kerbin, because that's what we're going to do now. We have a contract to... we should accept those. Yeah, VIP. Test radial decoupler landed at Kerbin. Let's just do this one very quickly. Where's the radial decoupler? Oh, of course, here it is. Let's do it quickly to fulfill the contract. It might roll our capsule around. Let's have a look. Ooh. And that was nice. Oh, look at it fly. That was cool. And we did fulfill the contract. That's like a weapon. I want to redo that. Yeah, recover the vessel. Or maybe I could fire a couple simultaneously. Jebediah did not gain any experience. That's not surprising at all. Now, I would like to upgrade the tracking station as well, because that would give us access to maneuvers. And I also want to upgrade this hangar and the launch pad. We don't have enough money for all of them. So I think we'll just build a spacecraft that can go to orbit, which will not be particularly difficult. Let's take some science things first. And in the interest of landing it safely, I should probably put on some struts, but how expensive is that? The struts are actually more expensive than this. So we just need to make sure to gather the data beforehand. Use our scientist, or yeah, I think we'll be using a scientist to go out and to take the data. I think I might actually add another capsule just to... Now let's fly with the scientist. That will save us some money. And I don't think it's a pretty simple maneuver to go into and out of orbit, so I don't think we really need a pilot for that. We might make a 3-stage rocket. I think I'll put on some batteries, too. Maybe we should do that on the main pod. First, mystery goo containers. Just 2 of them. And the thermometer. 1 thermometer. A comms array. Oh, they would intersect a bit. Let's change that. Oh, we can put the comms array on the science lab. Of course we can. Rather, we can put the thermometer on the science lab. That'll be better. We'll do it on this side. It opens, but it never really stopped the thing earlier. Good. So we have the ability to log temperature and transmit it. We will need a bit more electricity for that, so... Oh, I did put on the mystery goo a bit crookedly. We'll take 2 battery packs. Oh, crap. Mystery goo, it doesn't have symmetry again. Good. 2 battery packs to transmit our findings. Okay, it looks good. Now, I think we should use... we could use landing struts, but they're pretty expensive. Well, not that expensive. We can afford them. Let's put on 4 landing struts on the science lab. They will soften the landing make sure the whole thing survives. Actually, we might do it a bit differently. We might even put a small tank for deorbiting the thing. Then we'd actually land the whole rocket, couldn't we? Probably could. It's possible. And the Taureor liquid fuel engine. That would be enough for a deorbit. And then we could land the whole thing. That's almost the moon lander. I don't think there's a point to that. How expensive is the engine? Do we really want to save it? Nah, it's not that expensive. Yeah, let's put in a heat shield here. The landing struts. Just in case. They might not be necessary, they might be necessary, we don't know. And also, no, we already have everything we want on the main capsule. Because we will have a scientist, we will be able to reuse the experiment. Now we need the orbiter stage. So we'll do that, and the Taureor engine should do for the orbiting and deorbiting. And now we need another decoupler. It will be a three-stage ship, I think. A bit more fuel, maybe 3 tanks should be enough. And an engine with a lot of thrust, meaning they're reliant. I could even put on the side engines. They're pretty cool looking, but they're not really necessary. Okay. And now we need to make sure we don't exceed the building limits, the mass and the part limit. So this should work. I think we need to put on this solid fuel thumper booster, which might require us to lower this stage a little bit lower, make it smaller. Let's put in a decoupler here. I'm doing it blindly, I don't really have a plan. A bit too heavy and a bit too high. I suppose we need to get rid of one of the fuel tanks. Maybe replace it with a smaller one. We can put in a smaller one. Will this be good? Not exactly. We need a very small, very little tank. We could put it on the upper stage though. Why not do that? Yeah, actually that might be the better choice here. Because once we've gotten to a proper altitude, this engine is very efficient. So let's see, this is actually within all the limits. The height is okay. We need to add some stability, but we don't really have a lot of leeway on the parts left. Maybe I overdid it with the batteries. What we have enough part limit for 6 winglets. So let's do that. Let's put 6 winglets on the rocket. And if it doesn't work, I'll go back and upgrade my launch pad to support a heavier rocket or something. But it should work really. Taking a pilot would be easier. I would like to take the scientist though. Let's try it with the scientist. If it doesn't work, we'll try it with the pilot. Okay, cool. It looks like it should be working alright. Okay, let's just adjust the stages properly. Yeah, and we might switch those around. I might not want to leave this behind. If we have some fuel left. Okay, cool. Let's try that. We want to get to orbit, so we will need to be firing sideways a little bit. Let's go. Starting nicely. We'll need to lean to 90 degrees relatively soon. Let's first get to a proper altitude. I mean, I could start leaning slightly right now because it's going to be difficult, since we don't really have any ability to steer at the moment. Well, we're going the opposite direction, so we might... Okay, not a problem, not a problem. Get more punch out of this engine. If we're going the opposite direction, we're going the opposite direction. It doesn't really matter that much. Okay, let's reduce the thrust a little bit so we don't get too much air resistance. I think it's going pretty well. Let's just check where our apoapsis is. Yeah, still going strong. Pretty well. We could use some stability enhancing pilot skills, but our Kerbal doesn't have any, so it's not a problem really. Let's just fire propagate and 30. That's not enough. For proper orbit we need to get over 50 and probably to 70. But once we're up there, it will be cool. We do have our very efficient little engine. Okay. We're turning. Let's turn a bit more. Start attaining the orbital velocity already. Oh, there might be a problem because once we drop this stage, we won't have the stability enhancement. Might need to wait with that a bit. Okay, let's do it. And just maintain the propagate vector manually. Maximize the thrust because this engine doesn't have very high thrust. Make sure we don't fall down before we attain orbit. Oops, yeah, we need to keep controlling this little craft. If we had a pilot, it would be much easier. We just, yeah, bring up the nav ball. It's easier that way. We should just be widening the orbit, yes. That makes sense. No need to make it wider over here just yet. How much fuel do we have left? Quite a bit still. Apoapsis, yeah. Firing while being at the apoapsis is the most efficient, but we still... Our orbit is not good enough to do that. We might be able to get it, we'll see soon. We still haven't used half our fuel. We can't add maneuver nodes yet. If we could, we'd be able to tell by now if we would be traveling fast enough to do that. Yeah. Keep close to the propagate vector. Okay, 1/3 of our fuel left. We just need to widen it a little bit more. No, we actually need to widen it quite a bit more, so we might not have enough fuel for orbit. Whoops, 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 whoops. Stop paying attention for a little while, and here we are in trouble. Yeah, thrust towards the horizon. If it doesn't work, I'm just taking a pilot. We could make a bigger craft, but you don't really need such a big one for orbit. I could keep using only a liquid fuel instead of the huge solid fuel booster. Could be better. Yeah, I don't think we can do it. Let's reduce the thrust. Almost there though. So if we did it a bit more efficiently, it's actually possible. It's not the fault of the craft. Not entirely, at least. Yeah, almost there. Not quite, though. Just a bit. Okay, let's redo it. Change the vehicle. We don't have the parts limit to use many more. I suppose we could try just using this engine and more fuel tanks. It could work, you know. I don't think it will have enough thrust to get us off the ground. How much thrust does this part have? Mm-hmm. 275. What about the Reliant engine? 200. So it won't be that bad. Actually, it might get us off the ground. What if we just use the Reliant engine with more fuel tanks instead of the solid booster? Like that. And we could add a couple of small solid boosters on the side. It's too heavy. How much was that? Oh, still a bit too much. Let's use the small one. Could work. Might not, but could work. Maybe that's too much. Maybe I should discard this. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll get rid of the landing struts. No, not of this. We have 4 landing struts. Let's get rid of them in favor of 3 landing struts. Yeah, this should be sufficient, and we will have 1 more part to use. Meaning that we can put 3 fins of winglets on the final stage. I'll put fins. They should enhance the stability a little bit. Yeah, cool. Let's see if it can even lift off the ground, because the thrust might not be enough. Oops, let's put the zooming out. Maximum thrust, and here we go. Very slowly. Well, it might suffice. We're having a nice acceleration. No, don't. Why are you turning over? Don't turn over, not in this direction, wrong. Why is it turning over? Is that the comms console? That's the only unbalanced thing there. Oh, maybe it started swaying while we were standing on the tail. Let's try that again. Yeah, launch right away. Maybe it will be better this way. Yeah, and we are turning again. Now I will try to counteract that. Oh, I was supposed to take a pilot instead, wasn't I? Well, if it doesn't work, I will. It seems our thrust is not enough. We're burning too much fuel for the gains we make. But we are turning sideways, which is actually proper for what we want to do. No, this is not working. We need some more initial thrust. Need some solid boosters. Yeah. We need at least 1 solid booster for that to work properly. Or maybe 2 on the sides. Yeah, going to the side way too quickly. Let's get back to the vehicle assembly bay. Screw the struts, we don't need them. If it breaks, it breaks. We have 3 more parts to use. So I'm thinking, how much mass do we have? We throw out some fuel tanks. 1 from here, 1 small one from here. That'll be sufficient, won't it? Yeah. And now we can add some solid boosters on the sides to give us the initial thump. I think 2 will be good. Yeah, the mass should be okay. How heavy is the hammer? The hammer weighs 3. It's too much. Maybe 2 fleas. Let's try 2 fleas. The mass is acceptable. Yeah, the initial oomph will make up for it, I think. And we need the stability enhancement. 4 winglets should be sufficient. I will just put them on the side here. Okay, and our rocket is almost ready to launch. Is that the correct order? No, it isn't. We need to fire this engine together with those side boosters. They're just there to give us the initial bump, yeah. We can add 3 more parts. Should we? Should we add some more fins? We might want to. Although, is it really necessary? No. Maybe we could add the small fuel tank still. It's still within limits. Yeah, let's see if it works. And I was supposed to put in a pilot, wasn't I? Well, let's try once again with the scientist. I do like my scientists. Okay, cool. Maximum thrust. Oh, here we go. Yeah, much more initial strength. And yeah, that could work. We won't be wasting so much fuel for the initial acceleration. And the rocket is a bit lighter now. Let's start turning sideways a little tiny bit. If we can. Well, the fins might make it impossible. I'm still burning at the maximum thrust, and it's not giving us a lot of acceleration. We've turned, but not the way I wanted to. Well. A turn's a turn, it should work. I'll actually start reducing the thrust soon. Slightly. So that we have fuel for longer. Because we don't really need too much drag. Yeah, and I think it's working finally. Oh, we can log the temperature. And transmit. Yay, finally did that. And those parts, like the antenna, I don't think they have have aerodynamics. So this isn't a problem. We are not getting everything from those thermometers. Let's reduce the thrust. How far will we go? Where's our apoapsis? It's decent. We should turn a bit more. Yeah, we need to go towards the horizon slightly. We're not going the right way per se, but well, let's turn, adjust our thrust, turn even more. Perfect, and thrust towards the horizon to actually attain some orbital velocity. We're mostly out of the atmosphere, and here's our smaller engine. No. Oh, this handles really differently. And we'll be thrusting towards the horizon, because our the velocity that we already have upwards should do the trick. Just see the map. Don't abandon the nav ball, it's necessary. Yeah, our apoapsis is in the proper position. We just need to widen the orbit significantly. And this time we actually might have enough fuel for that. Because I handled it a bit better than the first time. Our orbit is already looking relatively nicely. That's how it's beneficial to have a pilot. I have to keep clicking to point the correct way. If we had a pilot, we could just enable SAS. And we do need to maintain a little bit of fuel in our tanks to be able to deorbit when we want to return to Kerbal. Yeah, if we had maneuver nodes, we could see how much we need, how much speed we need. I will cut the engines actually. Let's get a little bit further, because it's most efficient to fire at your apoapsis. Yeah, I will wait a little bit and fire them at a lower thrust. Just a minimum. For now. Yeah, and we can give more thrust now. We are actually traveling quite fast. I don't remember the exact number. I mean, I think it's 2,000 and something meters per second that we need to orbit. And we have 1/3 of our fuel left. We might be able to do it. Maybe I shouldn't be firing at the full thrust. Let's diminish that a little bit. And yeah, we're almost there. The orbit is actually appearing now. Let's keep a close eye on our fuel. We need at least 10 to deorbit, I think. To deorbit properly, all we need to do is get into the atmosphere, then the air will slow us down. Yeah, it's actually working. We can safely cut the engines now as we are in orbit. Yay, finally worked. What was that? The third attempt? And here's our debris. Now, let's do some science. Crew report from orbit. Not much. What about the material bay? A bit. What about an EVA report? Can we stabilize that flight a little bit? We can, good. Right. What about an EVA report? Be sure not to fall off. Oh, above cabin's water. Yeah, those EVA reports are different depending on over what you are floating at in a particular moment. So we are now floating over the ocean. Let's store the report. And oh, we could also log the temperature. Where's the thermometer? Oh, it doesn't give us anything. Mystery goo? Not really. Right, let's get back into the pod. Now, when we are flying over something else, we will be able to get more science. But it's going to be a while until we can actually fly over something else. Maybe I should use time acceleration. But we should get data from the mountains. That at least. We did complete the contract. Let's time accelerate a tiny bit. Until we get over this biome. Okay, stop. Can we get new data from the material bay? I don't think so. Right, seems like the material bay is completely useless then. Right, we'll keep that data and keep that in mind. Observe the goo. Not really. What about the thermometer? Where was that? Oh, over here. Nope. Crew report? Nope. But the EVA report should yield different results. Be sure not to fall off. And you can actually collect the data from the material bay, store it in the pod, and restore the material bay. So we can reuse it wherever we land. Do the same with the goo, just in case. Keep the data, take the data, and put it in the command pod. Now we will restore. Okay, what about the EVA report? What about Kerbal's grasslands? That's grasslands. Oh, I thought that those were mountains. Were we too late? Possibly. Okay, cool. Let's get back into the pod then. And time accelerate a bit more. See over what kind of land we fly. Actually, I should be checking that on the map, because maybe there's nothing more that's interesting. Well, there will be some mountains here, so we will need to pay attention to that. And there's a desert? I think there's a desert. Yeah, so we'll make a pass like that, and then we will deorbit. Yes. Well, if we could adjust our orbit a little bit, and fly over this area. Where are we exactly? We're over here. So if we fired our engines in this direction, how much fuel do we have left? It should turn our orbit a tiny bit sideways. Is this the proper way? To keep some to the orbit. Whoops. Okay, enough. Didn't really work. Well, there's a tiny bit over here. That could be enough. Okay, let's get back to the craft. Where are we? Oops, stop spinning, please. Stop spinning, stop spinning. Over what are you floating now? Left, to the left. Okay, this should be fine. Let's take a crew report. Nope, nothing new. Let's EVA. Let's not fall off. Over Kerbin's grasslands again. Well, we are about to float over mountains. Yeah, highlands. Keep the data. Store. And highlands again. Probably can't store the experiment. Yeah. Let's redo the EVA report. See if it actually counts as mountains or not. I don't think so. Reset. No, not really. Okay, grasslands again. Cool. Let's go back into the pod. What's next on our list? Oh, it's at the dark side. I don't really see what kind of terrain we can encounter there. Let's accelerate a tiny bit. Okay, enough. Is that marshlands or something like that? Let's EVA. Grasslands. And there should be highlands soon. Well, if we fall off, we have a jetpack that would let us return to the craft. Seems like it's same old, same old. Are you actually holding the capsule or not? Oh, you let go. Why did you let go? Let's try the EVA report again. Highlands, yeah, we already have that. Oh, can we transmit? No, we can't. We could transmit if we were inside the ship. Seems like we're not going to find anything new here, although there are some mountains up there. Let's do a new report. No, still highlands. Get back into the pod. Adjust it a little bit. The speed, I mean. And it should theoretically be over mountains now, shouldn't it? EVA. Crew report. Nope, still highlands. Oh, we let go. Why did we let go? Okay, cool. Let me just see the map. This area up here, is it a desert or not? Well, let's speed this up a little bit. This will count as grasslands, I think. This too, but there is a moment here when we will be flying over the desert. So, get out of the ship. Take the EVA report over highlands. That's cool. But soon, where's the planet? Here's the planet. Soon, you will be over a desert. So let's reset the experiment and wait for that moment. Yeah, oh, there were some mountains over here. I mean, I could time accelerate, but I don't want to do that while our Kerbal is outside the ship. He's falling as it is, slowly. EVA. Grasslands. Yeah, when we get over the desert, we should be getting a new biome, which means 8 bonus science. It's not a lot, but we need to take every opportunity we get. We'll get some more from the contracts very soon. Okay, what about now? Highlands again. Okay, technically we are over here, so this really looks like highlands. Deserts, yay. Keep the data. Store the data. Oh crap, we fall off. Well, we do have our jetpack, which will let us move towards the ship and grab it. Perfect. Nope. Oh, he let go. Use the jetpack again. Quickly towards the ship. Nope, not so quickly. It's pretty difficult to maneuver like that. Downwards. Downwards. And forwards. And upwards and stop. Downwards. Grab. And get back into the ship. Okay, I think we checked all the biomes we could on our path. Didn't we? Yeah, I don't think we'll get a chance to fly over the ice cap, will we? Maybe we will. No, we won't. Okay, so I think it's time to deorbit now. In order to do that, we need to find the vector opposite to our speed vector, which is this, and just fire into it. As you can see, this will shrink. Oh, okay, wrong place. We should be doing it here because the orbit is... Yeah, let's just accelerate until this point. We should be doing it in the furthest point, not in the close point, like here. Yeah, it's taking quite a long time, but we need to reserve our fuel. Because if we don't save our fuel, we might not be able to deorbit. And that would be disastrous. Okay, cool. So now find the vector opposite to the speed vector. That is marked like that. Oops, too far. Yeah, and slow down. Okay, it's sufficient. We can cut the engines now. We'll fall down. Where will we fall down? Fall down in the grasslands. Yeah, it's acceptable. Am I reading this wrong? No, we'll fall down in the grasslands, probably. Okay, let's get back here. We should be fine. I could take a mystery goo sample just in case. Maybe we'll get some science for it. What about the temperature reading? We can always reset those experiments. Observe the bay. 5.5 science is something. Okay, cool. So if we don't burn up in the atmosphere, I will try to save the engine and get us some more money. For now, let's just speed up a little bit. That's too fast. Yeah, down to 10. Up to 4 when we start getting... when we start getting friction from that. Oh, didn't we get over forests? Or was that a marsh or something? When we start getting damage from the friction burns, we'll actually stop the acceleration completely, like now. Okay, so the pod is actually quite resistant, the pod itself. But as you see, the batteries are not, and they will blow up probably. Maybe I should try and turn the ship and give the engine the bulk of the heat. Oh, you know what? Let's drop the engine and try using the heat shield we have on the science lab, maybe. Turn around. Yeah, that'll be better. Yeah, I forgot to take into account the fact that we are traveling with much more horizontal velocity, meaning... Woo! Okay, that was just the batteries, don't worry. Quite a sight. The goo is okay, and the science lab is relatively okay, because the shield is doing its job. We're actually not going that fast anymore. Yeah, for such a re-entry, the heat shield is unfortunately necessary. Okay, and we can actually deploy the chute now. Oh, there is no need, we can still slow down on our own a little bit. Oh, we should probably log the temperature. Let's do that. Yay, finally something new. What about the goo? One container can be reset. It wobbles. Yeah, that works. Actually, it's time to deploy the parachute. And I will accelerate a little bit until it deploys. It's no longer the case that the parachute deploying will break the physics and stuff. Okay, now we can slow down. Where is our shadow? Here it is. Shadow is very good for assessing your position, but we already talked about that. I wonder, will the science lab survive the fall? It's possible. No more time acceleration. And it survived. Okay, so the heat shield did its job. Worked pretty well. Maybe I should actually fall to the side. The data in space. Let's try falling to the side. Can we do that? Not really. Crew report. Useless. EVA report. Useless. Collect the data. And store it in the pod. And also try and using the material bay again. Yay, new data. Perfect. Keep the data. Also, let's try using the temperature logger. Yeah, quite pleasant. Would be a nice place to live. Okay, let's get back into the pod. And we can finally recover the vessel. Our first orbital flight. Gained quite a bit of science, probably. Yeah, quite a lot actually. We have a 147. Got some parts back. Yeah, we're rich now. And Bob Kerman advanced to level 1. Let's see that. Well, we could do that through the barracks. He's now level 1. Perfect. Okay, and I do believe this is more than sufficient for this episode, so thank you very much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you did like the video, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.